So here is my completed project. You see I've drilled a bunch of holes in here for try to help it cool, because these chips do get a little hot, and the transformer as well. This is kind of a temporary power cord that I'm going to replace with a different one. Got everything labeled, so we got volume, tone, input volume, power on and off, and my pilot light there, of course. And this here is a logo I came up with a long time ago. It's actually my initials incorporated into kind of a pentode power tube. Thought that was kind of cool. And I will now show you the inside. So here's the inside. I reworked some of it while I was trying to figure out what this hum buzz problem I was having. I tried everything. It was driving me up the wall. I mean, I had it originally just everything was chassis grounded, and then I tried star grounding. It made it worse. I had tried putting the star ground point on the ground of the voltage regulator. That was noisy. I tried putting the star ground over here on the standoff. That was really noisy. I tried isolating the jack, shielding the input wire. I could not get rid of the noise until I found out about the cap to ground on pin 7 of these LM386 is taking care of power supply noise. But in that process, I kind of reworked the power supply a little bit, and I moved this voltage regulator off to one side, so I got more room in here, and I still got my 470 UF to ground right after rectification. It's underneath the board here. And then we've heat sinked the LM7809 to the enclosure. And these are the 247 UF caps here that we added for power supply noise elimination. And other than that, everything's pretty much the way it was, but I've reworked almost everything in here in my quest to try to eliminate this noise, which was coming from pin 7 just being left open. And I drilled all these holes after the fact. I had everything done, and I carefully drilled all these ventilation holes into the enclosure. So next I'll show you the schematic. So here's my version of the Little Gem schematic with my modifications to it. I've added a input volume, 100K, with a 47K to ground, so it can never go to completely zero. And then here I have the input buffer as per the standard schematic, MPF 102, and then my addition is this here, the stupidly wonderful tone control that Mark Hammer came up with. So that's a 10K with a 0.047 to ground with a 1.5K resistor in front of it. And then we have, oh, I have a mistake right here actually. So then would be the volume pot, 100K audio, and then I would have this 0.22 cap right here actually, which I'll have to fix that. And then I got a treble bleed cap, 0.001, so when you turn down the volume control, you don't lose too much treble. And then we go on to the power supply. Here's my power supply, the Radio Shack 6 volt, 0.6 volt transformer. I left the center tap unconnected, and we put that through a diode full wave rectifier. So it's about 13.5 volts coming out of here. It's about 19 volts after rectification. I put a 470 UF cap to ground. After rectification, then I decided to go with 9 volts on this, so I'm using an LM7809 voltage regulator. Got one more 100 UF cap to ground just to smooth out any transients or whatever. Then I've got my LED indicator. And then this part here is pretty much the standard little gem circuit with the exception of one very important item, which is these two 47 UF caps to ground on pin 7. Without these things in here, this thing is just a buzzing bastard. I could put like 10 million microfarads of power filtering on the power supply and it still would be buzzing, and it was just driving me crazy till I figured out by doing a little bit of research that you can eliminate power supply noise by using caps to ground on pin 7 of these LM386s. So until I discovered that, I was like pulling out my hair trying to figure out why this thing had this, 120 cycle buzz slash hum. It was driving me nuts. But so anyways, that's my version of the little gem with my nano head style enclosure. So I'm not really set up to do recording sound clips and stuff, but I do have my Strat going into this Mooer Shimverb that I got a couple weeks ago, and that's going into my little gem here, nano head, and it doesn't quite get up to 90 dB like my other one, but it's certainly now loud enough for practicing in your room, like bedroom amp. The tone control's not too extreme, it's kind of subtle, but let's use the bridge pickup. Just kind of takes it mellows it out a lot without, like really putting a blanket on everything. So now I got to figure out if what these holes that I drilled in here are actually doing to help cool it. It does seem to be running relatively cool compared to when I was running it last night before drilling all these holes. Like one side of this enclosure is actually pretty cool to the touch. So it seemed to be drawing air in probably from here on this side, and it's exiting out here where the voltage regulator is, and probably out the back over here, and pulling air in from the bottom here. So overall, I'm pretty jazzed about this little thing. I think it's turned out quite cool. So okay, so I suspected maybe I messed up one of my LM386s or something, so just to show you this one, I took the ones out of my other unit that I know are really loud comparatively, and I put them in here, and just to show you, like, this gets pretty loud, like 10 or 12 dB louder than the others. So so now I'm officially happy with this thing. It's nice and loud, and it's working just the same as the other one was. So there you go.